Today, the iPhone is more than just a phone. It's a camera, a music player, a mini computer, a gaming device, and for billions of people, it's the center of daily life. But how did it begin? Who created it? And how did a single device, launched in 2007, go on to transform not just technology, but society itself? To understand the iPhone, we need to go back decades before its launch, to a time when Apple was struggling, and no one could have predicted the impact a simple idea would have on the entire world. The seeds of innovation. Before the iPhone. The story of the iPhone really begins with Apple in the late 1990s. At that time, Apple was known mostly for its Macintosh computers. It wasn't the giant it is today. In fact, the company had been struggling financially, even coming close to bankruptcy. When Steve Jobs returned to Apple in 1997 after being forced out in the 1980s, he brought with him a vision. Apple needed not just to survive, but to innovate, to create products that people didn't even know they needed yet. In 2001, Apple launched the iPod, a music player that allowed you to carry 1,000 songs in your pocket. The iPod was revolutionary, but it also planted a seed. If people could carry music in their pocket, why not the internet? Why not their entire digital world? At the same time, mobile phones were becoming popular. Nokia, Motorola, and BlackBerry dominated the market. Phones were clunky with physical buttons and tiny screens. Some could send emails or browse a limited version of the internet, but nothing was seamless. Behind the scenes, Apple engineers were experimenting with the idea of combining a phone, a music player, and an internet device into one. The first concepts, Apple's secret project. Around 2004, Steve Jobs set Apple's best engineers on a secret project, later known as Project Purple. Jobs wanted a device that was not just another phone, but something entirely new. Initially, Apple actually considered building a tablet first. Engineers were experimenting with multi-touch technology, the ability to use your fingers directly on a screen. Jobs saw this demo and realized if this technology could be scaled down, it could revolutionize the phone industry. Apple partnered briefly with Motorola to release the Motorola RORK E1 in 2005, a phone that could play iTunes music. But Jobs hated it. The software was slow, the design was clunky, and it didn't feel like an Apple product. That failure convinced Apple they had to build their own phone. The birth of the iPhone. On January 9, 2007, at the Macworld Conference in San Francisco, Steve Jobs walked on stage with a simple message. Today, we're introducing 3 revolutionary products: a widescreen iPod with touch controls, a revolutionary mobile phone, and a breakthrough internet communications device. Then he revealed it wasn't 3 devices, it was one, the iPhone. The first iPhone had a 3.5-inch touchscreen, no physical keyboard, shocking at the time, internet browsing through Safari, a music player with iTunes integration, a 2-megapixel camera, and a sleek design that looked futuristic compared to bulky competitors. When it launched on June 29, 2007, people lined up outside Apple stores. It was expensive, limited to AT&T in the US, and lacked features like 3G or even an app store. But it was magical. For the first time, you could browse the web properly on your phone. You could pinch to zoom on photos. The touchscreen felt alive. The iPhone had officially been born.
The App Store changes everything. In 2008, Apple launched the App Store alongside the iPhone 3G. This was the true revolution. Suddenly, developers all over the world could create apps and sell them directly to iPhone users. The App Store meant your iPhone could do almost anything: play games, check the news, order food, track fitness. It transformed the phone into a platform, not just a product. The iPhone 3G also introduced faster internet speeds, and the iPhone 3GS improved performance dramatically. By 2010, the iPhone 4 brought a brand new design with glass and stainless steel, the sharp Retina display, and FaceTime video calling. The iPhone was no longer a novelty, it was becoming a necessity. The smartphone wars, Apple versus the world. As the iPhone grew, competitors scrambled to catch up. Google's Android became the biggest rival, powering phones from companies like Samsung, HTC, and Motorola. Unlike Apple's tightly controlled ecosystem, Android allowed more freedom, different phone sizes, features, and price points. This fueled a global smartphone war. Apple positioned itself as the premium design-focused brand, while Android took over the market with sheer variety. But Apple's yearly iPhone releases, like the iPhone 5 in 2012 with LTE support and the iPhone 6 in 2014 with bigger screens, kept it at the forefront of innovation. Chapter 6: Tragedy and Triumph. After Steve Jobs. In 2011, just one day after the iPhone 4S was unveiled, Steve Jobs passed away after a long battle with cancer. The world mourned. Many wondered, could Apple survive without the man who had been its visionary leader? Tim Cook, Apple's CEO, reassured the world that Apple would continue to innovate. Under his leadership, the iPhone line grew larger, faster, and more powerful. The App Store exploded into millions of apps. By the mid-2010s, the iPhone had become not just a phone, but a cultural force. It had changed photography, music, communication, work, and even how people dated or socialized. The modern era, iPhone X to iPhone 15. In 2017, Apple released the iPhone X, celebrating the iPhone's 10th anniversary. It removed the home button, introduced Face ID facial recognition, and featured an edge-to-edge OLED display. It felt like the future in your hand. Since then, Apple has continued to refine the iPhone. Better cameras with features like night mode and cinematic video, the powerful A-series chips rivaling desktop computers, 5G connectivity for ultra-fast internet, the iPhone 12 bringing MagSafe accessories, and the iPhone 14 introducing safety features like crash detection and satellite SOS. And in 2023, the iPhone 15 switching from Lightning to USB-C, marking another turning point in Apple's history. Each generation built on the last, keeping the iPhone at the center of the tech world. The iPhone's legacy. The iPhone wasn't just a gadget, it reshaped industries. It killed the iPod, digital cameras, and GPS devices. It created the app economy, worth billions of dollars. It changed communication forever, making video calls and instant messaging normal. It became a cultural symbol, shaping fashion, photography, and even politics. More than 2 billion iPhones have been sold worldwide. For many people, the iPhone is the first thing they check in the morning and the last thing at night. The future of the iPhone. Where does the iPhone go from here? Rumors point toward foldable designs, deeper integration with augmented reality, and even AI-powered features. But one thing is certain, the iPhone is no longer just a product. It's a platform, a culture, and a revolution that began with one man's vision, and it continues to shape the way we live, work, and connect.